YouTubers, Electric Adventures here with the next episode of my Electric Adventures the Games, where I'm going through and showing the classic games that I wrote back in the early 80s. A lot of these are written in BASIC, some with a little bit of machine code to help them out. They're all my early titles. This one, we're on to the last title on Program Pack 4, and it is Android Alert. Not a bad little game. Ooh, click in the right spot. So let's have a little play of him. So a bit of a title screen, showing a couple of characters animating. Dude on the right there looks very much like a character out of Berzerk, and I'm entirely sure that, you know, that's where I probably got the idea for the graphic from. And a few treasures to collect. Right, so we teleport in. There's a little bit of drawing effect there. Now you've got two robots guarding the entrances and exits. And if you shoot them, they respawn. You start in the middle room, and you need to find the key and the gate out. So that's a chalice, so that just gets us some points. Oh, there we go. And they start to shoot now as well. And you have to press in a direction that you want to fire in as well. And the mazes are not complicated, it is just basically a 3x3 maze. Yeah, we're going to find all the treasures before we find the key. One of the treasures. So it's, you know, it's illustrating you know, characters with a couple of frames of animation, a bit of enemy AI to, you know, they're out to try and kill you. It is only very simple AI. You have to be very careful. And there's our key. 500 points for the key. And I said it does get harder. There can only be one bullet from the enemies on the screen at a time. And there's a time bonus ticking down slowly as well. So it's got a lot of concepts in it. So I've actually collected everything on this level. There we go, there's the gate. And now we have a bit of a escalating sound effect to, you know, simulate being beamed to the next level. And we're going for level 2. Now the items are all placed randomly, there's no, you know, maps per se. And you notice the robots are moving quicker now. Got the gold. Some more gold. A little bit of sprite clash there. Oh, are we going to make it in time? Oh, just. Right, there's the gate. Happens to be in the exact same spot as last time, but that's pure coincidence. We're doing well finding the prizes. There's the key. So they do have, you know, rudimentary AI. They know that if they're lined up with you, they should have a pot shot at you. There we go. And we actually got an extra life as well. So it's not an overly hard game to start with, but the levels do definitely get harder. So now we're on level 3. the speed will start to definitely come into play. Notice their shots are moving quite quickly now. It's lucky one of them didn't shoot at us then. Alright, gate's in a slightly different spot this time. And the key, here we go. This is good, we can see how much faster it gets. Now let's see what level 4 is like. So the robots are moving a lot faster now. It's going to be a lot harder to get through these sideways doors, and he got me. Puts me back in the middle. Oh, got me again. So as you can see, leads you in a little bit. Just try something different rather than repeating the same mistake all the time. Well, we found the key. Whoa. Oh, God, that was close. Ooh, got me. So we do have the key, so we only need to find the way out now. Let's see. Oop, there we go. Oh, didn't expect I'd get as far as this. We'll see how whether it gets even harder on level 5. We might call time after that though. So, but you can see it's quite a good little fun game. A little bit of replayability. Obviously, things I could have done better was, you know, actually have the maze vary. So it's obviously a game a little bit inspired by Berzerk, but not quite Berzerk. I think of an extra life. Lucky he didn't shoot at me. As you can see, the robots are moving much quicker now. I'm just lucky that they chose not to shoot at that particular time. Still alive. As I said, I'll just make to the next gate and then we'll call it quits. There we go. So, I got through further than I thought. Alright, let's go and have a little bit of a look at the source code. Right, back. Let's have a look at our game. So let's see how long it is first, like I normally do. Don't expect this one will be too long. It'll probably have a bit of sprite data. There we go. So 70 lines long, and as you can see, the last 10 lines are all sprite and a little bit of data there, probably for the maze. All right, let's look at the first part. So a little bit of screen set up there as I've covered in previous ones. I'm not going to repeat the same stuff all the time. We draw our title on line 30, drawing that box around it. Then we read our sprite shapes in and put up our press trigger to play message. Right, then we have a little bit of a loop here. It's actually looping around 50 times, interestingly, waiting for a trigger press. And then this is the animation on the front screen. So it's approximately, I suppose, I mean, this is basic, so it's not precise. Potentially you could get round 50 times round a loop like that in a second. So it's approximately a second, and it's changing the sprite patterns between of the robot and the main man on that title screen, and waiting for the trigger to be pressed. Once the trigger's been pressed, it's doing if not. So there we go. It'll go through if the trigger's pressed. We hide those couple of sprites, and line 90 is where we start our game. So line 90, we're hiding all the sprites, we're putting the score and the high score at the top, the lives. Line 100, we're setting up all our variables there. You've got the score, the lives, the level, not sure what F is, extra man ratio, and XS and XY. Don't know about that one. Maybe that's probably our starting position. And we put the level up on the screen as well. Wasn't too bad on knowing my variables back then. You did need to understand what in the world you were doing. Okay, then we go and place in the maze the objects. So that's our random function there. And yeah, it's one for each of the object types, I'd say. Then line 120, we draw our box. Oh no, that's just printing our level. Line 130 is making up some choices about where it puts specific things. I'd say, yeah, the first bit fills the whole array with random prizes, and then line 130 and 140 place both the key and the gate out, and both of them making sure they're not in the middle square. And placing the second one not where the first one is as well. So, and it loops around until it actually gets a proper place. Well, line 150, we put our X and Y position in the middle of the screen. We play our opening sound. In other words, our teleport in while flashing some colours. Next, this is where we draw our box. Outer box, and then draw our inner box, and then our logic 170 to 190 are drawing the openings on the left, the bottom, and the top, and I'd say line 200. Let's have a look. Would draw the one on the right. Okay, so these are our robots, I'd say. So it's putting our robots. Line 220 we call subroutine. Look at that later, and it's getting our joystick from both the keyboard and joystick port 1, and moving our man appropriately. We're using the point command to find out whether we've hit a wall, which is really good. So that runs all the way through to line 250 there. And 260 and 270, so we allow 8 directional movement specifically, so 280 and 290, so we allow proper 8 directional movement. It's not just left right. Not sure what line 300 is doing at the moment. Something about a direction. Oh, I'd say yes. Okay, so that's the last direction we moved in, either left or right, and that'll determine which direction we fire when we next fire. Line 310, oh, this is the bonus countdown. It's counting down. When it hits an even 100, it'll take a bit off the bonus score up the top right there and update it. On line 320, we actually put our main sprite with all its current settings. Then we look for the trigger, and if we're not, so F was whether we're firing already, and XB and X and YB are the X and Y coordinates of the bullet. So we put that in an appropriate spot, play a sound, and go to a subroutine 380, which we'll get to shortly. Line 340. If we haven't fired a bullet, then we skip to 380. Else on E, the variable E, it is E, go to 350 and 360. So that moves the bullet either left or right. Oops. Emulate the keyboard right. Left or right, so 370 is after we've done that, seeing whether the bullet's made it all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and we get rid of it. Else we put the bullet on the screen, and then a 380 we see whether it has collided with either of our enemies. Okay. I'm doing it again. Seem to have a common mistyping today. Okay. Yeah, more collision detection on line 410. Yeah, and it's resetting the enemy back to their starting position if otherwise. So, yeah. 450 to 490. A little bit more code here. So this is robot logic here. This is to see whether it is going to fire at you. Once to know whether it's lined up, then go to 490, else. Okay, no, that's you shooting the robot there, sorry, got confused there. So we're comparing the bullet with the robot position still. So you can see line 470, we're increasing the score by 200. And a little bit more logic there as well. So it's hard revisiting code after all this time, especially since there was no room to put comments in because it took up valuable space. So we've got a different scoring for different things. So this is a score of 100, so it might be a different thing. And yeah, we're hitting some of the subroutines now, so it's a little hard to see them in context without drawing up a bit of a map. Line 540 is definitely where we go to when we die, and that's all handled in that one line of code there. Playing a sound, putting us back to our original spot, reducing our lives. Line 550 is where we print our score, and print our lives as well. Yep, line 570 is where we go to when it's game over, and puts the game over sign on the screen. Line 580 is another subroutine, I think. Oh, that's our end of level. That's our end of level noise cycling part. And then we're into our data. As I said, there was about 10 lines of data. So a lot in a very small amount of code, which once again demonstrates how good original Spectravideo and MSX Basic was at writing games. And it's what I love doing back in the early 80s. Alright, I hope everybody's enjoying this series. So next episode we'll be moving on to Program Pack 5. It has also has 3 games on it. And a couple of them use some machine code helper routines as well, so interesting. The games were written in a specific order. They weren't written to go into program packs, they were just written. Writers wrote them, so the age of the games varies per pack. So as I group games together to sell them at the time. Alright, I hope everybody's enjoying this series. I'm Electric Adventures, thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.